There's nothing better than seeing a rogue player you've signed in Football Manager rock up in the real world, just so you can brag to all your mates about your knowledge of your latest signing and how he might perform away at Stevenage on a Wednesday night. Of course, you might end up with egg on your face if the player turns out to be a bust, but that's the risk you take with Football Manager. Let's take a look at some of Football Manager's 2011 Wonderkids and where they are now. Let's kick off with JESE Rodriguez. Back when FM 2011 was released, JESE was just a 17-year-old boy with Real Madrid, yet to make his debut with Los Blancos, but he'd make his first senior appearance in December 2011, while spending 2 seasons banging them in for the Real Madrid reserve side. JESE made 63 La Liga appearances for Madrid, scoring 13 goals, where it looked like he would be a Real Madrid player for years to come. However, last summer he would leave Spain and join PSG for €25 million, which in short was an absolute disaster, and he was sent back to Spain after just half a season to go on loan to Las Palmas, where he scored 3 times. As we all know, JESE is now with Stoke City on loan, scoring against Arsenal on his debut in a team full of Champions League winners. Combine that with JESE's music career, Yes I Wish I Was Lying, and Football Manager are probably pretty happy with their prediction. Okay, maybe not. Next up we've got Alex Smithies. Despite being in League 1 with Huddersfield, Footy Manager still considered goalkeeper Alex Smithies a star of the future when he was 20 years old, which is fair enough, that's very young for a goalkeeper. He's got loads of years to climb up the footballing ladder. And Huddersfield did exactly that, reaching the Championship in 2012 and then making the final leap to the Premier League this summer by winning the playoffs. The only problem is, Alex Smithies wasn't there. Yes, the local lad left the Terriers in 2015 to join Queen's Park Rangers, and while his boyhood club are unbeaten in the Premier League, the closest he's getting is 10:30 on BBC One on a Saturday night watching Gary Lineker and the boys. To a goalkeeper Football Manager might be right about, Jack Butland. 17-year-old Jack Butland was awaiting his chance at first team football when FM11 cited him as a wonder kid, and his first big break would come on loan at League 2 side Cheltenham. After his temporary move away from St Andrews, Butland would be Birmingham's #1 keeper for the entire 2012-13 season in the Championship, with his performances earning him a move to Premier League Stoke, where he still is today, showcasing the potential between the sticks that Football Manager knew he had in 2011. While Smithies is preparing for another week of Championship football, it's the Premier League for Butland as he continues his quest to be the England #1, a goal he's not far off reaching. From a success to a flop, it's LACINA TRAORE. This is exactly what we were talking about in the intro. LACINA TRAORE perfectly sums up a Football Manager gem who you've never actually seen play football. Then when you finally clap eyes on him, it's offensive how bad he is. In the 2011 edition of Football Manager, LACINA TRAORE was a safe purchase up front, a big target man to get crosses into, and no doubt he took it away. At 19 years old, TRAORE had the world at his size 13 feet. But in 2017, he's a constant figure on the Football Manager transfer list, and you always ask yourself, I wonder if he could be as good as he used to be. The Ivory Coast striker moved to Everton on loan in 2014, playing 1 game in which he got injured, and TRAORE was never seen on English shores again. In 2017, he's back with Monaco after multiple loan spells away, begging Kylian Mbappe will leave so he can get a game. In contrast, we've got GYLFI SIGURDSSON. Before Football Manager 2011 was released, the Icelandic midfielder had banged in 16 Championship goals for Reading and agreed to move to the Bundesliga with Hoffenheim, so it made sense why the computer game rated the 20-year-old so highly. The playmaker was a must for your Football Manager team, with his set-piece ability alone making him a guaranteed star for your club, which is why it was so exciting to see him move to the Premier League with Swansea in January 2012, but there was always a chance it could be another case of the TRAOREs. Fortunately though, Sigurdsson shone, and his performances for Swansea in his second spell at the club kept them in the Premier League last season and earned him a £45 million move to Everton. A far cry from the bargain he was on FM 2011. Let's give Football Manager 2011 some credit and run through some players' futures who they got spot on. Rafael Varane, David De Gea, Cesar Azpilicueta, Alexandro, Paul Pogba, David Alaba, Antoine Griezmann, Gareth Bale, Kevin De Bruyne, Thomas Muller and Alexander Lacazette are all top players in Europe now, just like Footy Manager predicted. One player who isn't is Alan Jagoev. When Football Manager 2011 was released, 20-year-old Alan Jagoev was making waves in the Russian Premier League with CSKA Moscow, and 1 year later it looked like FM's prediction was spot on, when the young midfielder shone at Euro 2012. scoring 3 goals that saw him share the top goal scorer prize alongside Mario Mandzukic, Mario Balotelli, Mario Gomez, Christ there's a lot of Marios, Cristiano Ronaldo and Fernando Torres. It wasn't a vintage tournament for goal scoring. Dzagoev was the poster boy for Russian football and saw him targeted by the likes of Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham. But it's 2017 now and Dzagoev is still playing for CSKA, where he has won 3 league titles. Once considered Russia's answer to Jack Wilshere, it's hard to say which player is disappointed the most. And finally we've got the twins, Fabio and Rafael. At first it looked like Sir Alex Ferguson had found the brothers to replace Gary and Phil Neville, with Fabio and Rafael de Silva arriving in Manchester in 2008. Rafael was the more favoured of the two, appearing more often early on, but Football Manager thought they both had what it took to become top Brazilian fullbacks. Unfortunately for the twins, Football Manager was wrong. Fabio was first for the chop. He would suffer relegation while on loan at QPR, then join Cardiff permanently where he would be relegated again from the Premier League. Last summer he moved to the North East with Middlesbrough and shock horror he was relegated again, making it a hat-trick. As for Rafael, he lasted much longer at Old Trafford and would continue to be in and out of the team until 2015 when he was sold to Lyon for £2.5 million. They've got 2 Brazil caps each and Rafael inadvertently cost Man United £89 million last summer because when Fergie decided to play the Brazilian in centre midfield instead of a young Paul Pogba, the Frenchman decided Manchester was no longer for him. Until they came back 4 years later on and waved the checkbook. So those are our Football Manager 2011 Wonderkids and where they are now. Let us know what you think in the comments below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.